Hi, I'm Tabitha Bomer with Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual troop meeting. Today's meeting is going to cover the outdoor artist badges for cadets, seniors, and ambassadors. And this series of virtual troop meetings will help girls or troop members to fulfill the requirements of those badges. Let's go ahead and start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the Girl Scout Law. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. The objective of the outdoor artist badges is for girls to explore nature and create different kinds of outdoor themed art with a focus on the environment. And to complete these badges, these are the steps you'll need to follow. Explore outdoor art, make something, get to know the sounds of nature, be a nature photographer or capture nature digitally, and design with nature. The curriculum for older girl outdoor artist badges can be found on the Volunteer Toolkit, also known as the VTK. You will need a few items for today's meeting. You will need clay, and we also have a recipe for do-it-yourself clay in case you don't have any from the store. Textured items that you find in nature, such as shells, leaves, flowers, anything with a good texture to it, quarter string, and a digital camera or phone. Were you outside earlier today? I sure hope so. What did you see? Did you take a look around you? Think about what might have been different if you lived in a different part of the world, or if it was a different time of year. Nature is always changing and can provide some great inspiration. Many artists have been inspired by nature, and in today's meeting, you're going to explore different types of art outdoors and try some for yourself. I'm going to tell you about 3 artists who create art inspired by nature. After I finish describing each artist and her style, I challenge you to match the artist to their work. So if you'll look at the pictures behind me, there are 6 pictures, and there are 2 on each level, and those belong to the same artist. And in no particular order, this artist creates small-scale, ephemeral, also known as short-term, sculptures and places them in various landscapes around the world. Her installations are made intentionally to break down and disappear back into the earth. Ice and other eco-friendly biodegradable materials play a major role in her installations. She is respectful of the environment no matter where she chooses to place sculpture, and takes significant precautions not to cause an impact. This artist was born in Athens, Ohio, to Chinese immigrants. From a young age, she has always been concerned about environmental issues and has integrated the relationship people have with nature into her works, including memorials, sculptures, and earthworks. This artist prides herself on having work that is totally interactive. Her sculptures are always available for people to touch, sit on, hug, and interact any day of the year, night or day. So those are the 3 artists and descriptions of their work. So take a moment to match which artist's description I just read matches the works. And when you're ready, here are the answers. The first artist is Maya Lin, and she created Wave Field and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The second row is by Nancy Schoen, Make Way for Ducklings and the Tortoise and the Hare. And then our third artist is Margaret Bird, B-Y-R-D, and her creations are named Sudovik Rainbow, Paracus Pulp, and Thread It. And I hope you enjoyed some of these artists. These are some that I enjoyed myself doing some research on. Now, when you looked at these artists and the way I described them, which one was the hardest one to guess? What was your favorite style and why? Now, I'd like to challenge you to create your own art using a style similar to one of the 3 you see here. It doesn't have to be an exact copy, and we just want you to try it so you can find inspiration in the work. If you look closely, nature provides all kinds of shapes and patterns that can inspire art. Artists and jewelry makers have turned to nature for inspiration for hundreds of years. Next, you're going to make your own necklace pendant or other piece of jewelry out of clay. The pendant of the necklace should be inspired by nature. So this is the time to bring out your store-bought clay or make it from the recipe we share, and your textured items, and bring them all together. And we're gonna pause so I can grab my items. Next, you're gonna make your own clay necklace, pendant, or other piece of jewelry. The pendant of the necklace should be inspired by nature, and if you don't have any store-bought clay, you can make your own using the following recipe of 1 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of salt, 1/4 cup of water, and you may have to add a little more, just add it very slowly. You don't want it to stick, so it should be pliable, just kind of like Play-Doh. And this right here is that actual recipe used right there. And if it's a little sticky still, you can add a little bit of flour at a time, about a tablespoon, and you would just knead that like bread dough. And then once your clay is formed and ready to go, you'll just let it air dry, or you can bake it in the oven for about an hour at 350, but like any item you cook, please keep an eye on it. If you overcook it, it's gonna get really dark on you. So there's a sample I did earlier and I overcooked it. Now, once you have your clay, think creatively. You can try shaping it like something you see in nature. So for example, I've got a snail shell, and so I did a spiral inspired shape there. You can think of something abstract. It just reminds you of nature. This one, you can take something and you can imprint it into the clay and bake it like that. And then when you're done, it'll leave the imprint of the leaf. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out, and that will leave my maple shape in there. It's a little tough to see. And when it's done and I've baked it, I will probably get some paint to emphasize that pattern. And if I wanted to, I could leave it natural. Like I've got my acorn inspired clay here, and I just left that alone. I didn't paint it because I liked how it was a muted version of the actual acorn. Now, we would love to see what you create with clay. So if you'll take a picture of what you make and send it to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Speaking of photos, one type of outdoor artist we have not yet explored is nature photographers. Nature photographers may find beauty in large-scale scenery, such as landscapes at a national park, or they can find it in small scale, such as insects or blades of grass. I'm going to show you a few examples on the screen, and this first one is from Ansel Adams. He was very famous for doing landscapes in the West. This next photo is by Wyman Menzer, Burrowing Owl in Snow, and he is a wildlife photographer, and he photographs many different types of animals, including coyotes, roadrunners, and also, as seen here, the owl. This last photo is by Jim Goldstein, and this is a star trail reflected on Mono Lake, and what that means is he's pointed his camera toward the North Star and left his lens open for a period of time. I'm gonna guess maybe a few minutes to an hour on this one, and it just shows the passage of time. Photographs can also be used to inspire people to save the environment or protect natural spaces. For this activity, you will take photos of patterns or textures found in nature. Use your own perspective and share your view of things. That could mean zooming in on small details, taking photos from different angles, or simply showing off the beauty of nature in a unique way. You can also photograph something in nature over several days. For example, if there's a tree blooming or putting out leaves, you could take a photo over several days in the same spot to show the passage of time that way. Once you've taken your photos, we encourage you to share them with us so we can guess what you took a photo of. And if it's very obvious, we want to see what unique way you took it. Now, before you go out, here are a few quick tips for taking pictures from my photo shoots. So for starters, we want you to hold your camera so that your pictures are sharp. So with my camera here, Of course, you want to make sure your lens cap is off if you've got one. You want to hold your camera steady. So 2 arms with your arms locked into your body and looking through the viewfinder. And then when you push your shutter, you're just going to gently squeeze and let go. You don't want to jab it because then you get shaky, blurry photos. So here's an example on the screen of what happens if you don't hold it steady. The next photo is capture a scene. And what we encourage you to do is make sure your photo is not centered. Have your main subject slightly off center to make it more interesting. As far as lighting, on a very sunny day, you should try and shoot within the first 2 hours of sunrise or within 2 hours of sunset. Any other time, you're going to have really, really dark shadows and the detail's going to get lost in your photos. On a cloudy day, that is a really good time to get wildlife photography, and wildflowers look really great on a very cloudy day. So those are the best times to take photos. You want to get down on nature's level because sometimes the good stuff isn't right where you can see it. You got to get down, you got to find it. And then take lots of photos. It is more fun to try something new and something that most people don't normally take a picture of. So this example is from a few years ago where I went into Storybook Tree and shot out instead of taking the picture of me in the tree. I do want to remind you when you're out in nature, do not trample flowers and don't disturb nests or touch the animals. This is nature, it's their home, so leave them alone. We can't wait to see what nature-inspired art that you're going to share with us today. And next time we will explore art and nature using your other senses. So look for updates so you know what to bring. Remember, a Girl Scout always leaves a place cleaner than she found it. So be sure to clean up after your activities today, and that will conclude our meeting for today. Thank you so much for joining our virtual troop meeting, and don't forget to wash your hands.